Morning, Tom.
Good morning. Lovely to meet you. Welcome to Wells.
Thank you for having me. This is a first. We usually use our studio or we're doing it remotely, but I was nearby and you were kind enough to set up the studio here in the morning room.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
It is beautiful. It's beautiful. So thanks for spending some time with me. Tom, tell us a bit about yourself.
So I originally started my, sporting journey when I was 15, and I really wanted to be a professional cricketer.
You started when you were 15?
I guess I wanted to start being a professional cricketer when I was 15. I started playing cricket when I was 7 or 8, with my dad and going along to the adult games, and I just fell in love with the game and I wanted to play. And that was in Dorset, so playing for a team called Dorset Wanderers, and they travel around the county playing village cricket and friendly cricket.
As the name implies.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right. And so I had the best cricket upbringing of, playing on beautiful grounds. And
is cricket in your family, or is it a particular sport of that area? Or
yeah, it just basically came from my dad, and he played for South Gloucestershire, and he just got me into the game, and be throwing balls at me in the garden as a child, and I just picked it up, and it was something that I became really good at. And then I was lucky enough to get a sports scholarship at King's Taunton and went there for 5 years and got signed by Somerset County Cricket Club when I was 15. So it all happened very young for me, making it in the professional game. And then I had a 7-year career playing for Somerset and went on to represent British universities, England under 19s, and had the best time. Had an absolutely fantastic time traveling the world, playing cricket. And it really got me into wanting to then go into coaching.
So sports in your DNA, obviously. So your dad was also a professional cricketer.
Yeah.
Then you became do you have children? Your daughters will become professional cricketers?
Yeah. So funnily enough, they both love cricket, and they're both playing for Wells Cricket Club. They're involved in the Somerset Foundation and also doing some work with the MCC Foundation. And they're very passionate about the game, which I'm delighted about. And we went to watch a professional women's game at Somerset this week, and they had the most fantastic time. So they've got the bug as well.
Seems like it. I want to ask you a bit about your education. So you were fortunate enough to get a scholarship, and King's Taunton is an independent school. You were boarding there?
Yeah, so boarding, yeah.
How did you back then, and how do you now as a director of sport? How does sport, serious sport, children who are playing at a high level, how does that integrate with the rest of what they do at school, and particularly what they're mainly here for, which I suppose is academics, studies?
Yeah, absolutely. The balance is really difficult because I think sport has become so professionalized that you are now needed to train 5-6 times a week all year round. And cricket, when I was at school, luckily had an off season, and we didn't have to be training throughout the winter months. And I think that's where the game has changed. So I was lucky that I had that balance, and I was able to go on and get a degree and make sure that I have a fantastic teaching qualification as a brilliant backup after playing professional sport. Whereas I think the pressures now are significant on children that, they are required to have, completely through the roof fitness levels, and making sure that their nutrition is outstanding. They have access to sports psychology. So their time is so pressured, and it's just finding that right balance between academics, social life, and ensuring that then they can still pursue their dream of being a professional.
What do you think has changed?
I think sport has become more commercial. It's so commercial, particularly in England now. And I think with it becoming more commercial, it's become more professionalized. And I guess the riches that can be made from making it as a professional sports performer now is so vast and significant that I think pupils will really have that dream. When I was at school, it probably wasn't as commercial. So therefore, it was all about the love of the game and just enjoying what I did.
That's a shame, isn't it?
It is, because I think the best thing about being a child is being a child. And if, you're being signed at, age 9, 10 into these academies, in whatever sport it is, that pressure is then on you to perform and make sure you follow that path.
Let's take a quick break to talk about something that can make all the difference for your child's educational journey. I'm thrilled to share that this episode is sponsored by Top Schools, your trusted partner in navigating the complex world of school applications. If you're aiming for a top independent school in the UK, Top Schools offers personalised consulting to ensure your child finds the very best fit with a guaranteed outcome. From identifying those best fit schools to crafting standout applications to invigilating the entrance exams, the expert team is with you every step of the way. Ready to take control of your child's future? Visit topschoolsadmissions.com or click the link in the show notes to learn more and book a consultation today. Use the code DESTINATION for 20% off. That code is DESTINATION for 20% off personalised support for entry into a top independent boarding school in the UK. Now, back to our conversation.
I've got two challenges for you, actually. The first challenge is how do you... I'm a big believer in sport, but I'm an observer. I don't do any sport at all. I never really did, but then I had an injury. But I've got one child who's sporting, one child who's not. So how do you instill a love of sport just for the love of the game and all of the benefits that I believe are necessary for a healthy childhood is my first challenge. And then the second challenge is more about this balance for elite players.
Yeah, I'd say the first thing, we have a responsibility as staff, coaching and teaching staff, to make sport fun and actually not make it about the outcome. And if you make it outcome based, whether you win, lose, or whether you score a goal or you don't, you're then putting too much pressure on that individual, and they're going to focus on the negative if they don't succeed in their goal. So it's making sport fun. It's making it accessible to all. It's making them passionate about what they do. So it's taking pressure off. And for me, if you want the outcome to be winning or scoring a hat trick or, playing your best game, the best aim you can have for that child is to say to them, just focus on the process, because if they play their best, then ultimately the outcome will take care of itself. And if you take that pressure off of that outcome and just say, focus on what you have to do to play your best and perform your best, then largely you're going to get the best out of them. I think in terms of the elite pathway,
just on the just the normal, a normal student who's playing sport because it's mandatory, it's integrated into the curriculum. So how many teams do you have? Because I'm just thinking, if you've got a D team, or everyone can play, right? Everyone should play. And thinking about those students who are maybe a lot less interested or less, they don't enjoy it that much. They try to avoid it if possible.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're the ones that you've got to hook in somehow, because, the benefits of playing sport, we're all aware of their physical and mental well-being. Well-being is a huge term in education at the minute, particularly mental well-being and mental health. And I think the best way to achieve good mental health and positive well-being is through being active, engaging in something fun. So as I said, making activities fun, enjoyable, ensuring that if they don't quite get the skill right, that you are not jumping all over them and saying, you haven't done that particularly well, you need to do this, this and this. Putting really good building blocks in place to ensure that sport is accessible. And that's where I think, a sport like football is accessible for all, because, ultimately everyone can kick a ball and you can just then put different abilities together and make sure they have a great time. And for me, it works mixing the genders as well, to get involved in a sport like football, to make sure that they're then able to really enjoy what they do.
We're going to talk about football later, because that's a big project of yours. I mean, Wells Cathedral School, it's interesting, known for music, but we're here talking to you about sport because you've recently partnered up with Chelsea Football Club. We'll get onto that a bit later. So what are all of the different sports that you think like a normal child would try or get involved in, if it's not football or if it's not cricket or rugby? I mean, those are the big ones, aren't they? Are there some niche sports that you think that children should try?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, at Wells, for example, badminton is hugely popular. Our boarders in particular are so passionate about badminton, and we travel the Southwest, and, we've got probably up to 8 Somerset badminton players. One went on to, represent the country. So, we do have a fantastic badminton coach that brings, She comes into school and she's brilliant with the pupils. Swimming. And we've also branched out, and climbing is really taken off at Wells, and that is a hugely popular activity. And we enter a bouldering league in the southwest, so we go to a bouldering wall locally, and we compete with other schools at climbing. Kayaking, we've just bought a fleet of kayaks, and we use the pool, but also we take them off site. So I think the key is there's something for everyone. And those that don't enjoy mainstream sport, I think the key is that how you can hook them into something that they're passionate about, and making it fun and putting in place the right staffing levels to ensure that, there are those opportunities.
So keeping it fun, I suppose a lot of the sports, they're named as games, right? In fact, when I went to school, I just reminded myself, we did have PE, but then we also had games in the timetable, which is indicative, right, that you're supposed to have fun. And then at a certain point, it becomes less fun. I just never got into sport. I did gymnastics for a time until I got to be, I didn't continue for various reasons. Yeah, well, let's talk a little bit more about the benefits of sport. We glossed over them a little bit, but, and I work with a lot of parents who are so focused on the academics, and they do believe that is the most important thing, and they will actually sacrifice the sport and the games and the fun in order to focus on more study. And I have my own thoughts about that. What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, I mean, I worked at a hugely academic school in my previous role at Merchant Taylors, and what I found was that the academics was so important to the pupils, and I completely understood that their journey was, they wanted to go on to Oxbridge and ensure they get the best possible opportunities in life beyond school. The thing that I feel is that sport will benefit a pupil's journey that is really, really focused on their academics, is that balance, that well-being, but also the skills you gain through playing sport. It will actually help them in their future life, whether they go on to work in industry, whether they become CEOs of companies. The skills that the ability to get the best out of their team, to work well as teammates, maybe they're going to be in the captaincy and the leadership positions. They are developing those key traits that are really, really going to help them. The other thing about sport, which I'm hugely passionate about, is failure. I think that it's important for children to fail, because when they leave school, they experience enough failure, whether that's going to job interviews or whether it's in their personal life. It actually teaches you how to fail, and how you react to that is hugely important. Do you sit on the side sobbing in tears, or do you actually buck yourself up and make sure that you get back out there and try harder, get better, and build that resilience? And I think that's where sport is crucial. And I spoke a little bit about outcomes. It's not all about winning, because if all you do is win, when you eventually fail, you struggle to take it, and you struggle to then get back on that journey of really trying your best. So I think failure is hugely important that you can gain through sport.
Do you think failure is different if you are a solo sports person, or if you're failing as a team?
Yeah, I think it is different. I think if it's you as an individual, whether that's gymnastics, swimming, badminton, I think that you can put the sole blame on yourself. But I see positives in that, because then you can actually work out how you're going to get better and put things in place to ensure that you do improve. Whereas team, you can have the best game as an individual, but others let you down within that team. And then it's about how you react to that, and then making sure that you're able to then progress as a group. And that's why I love team sports as much as I love individual sports. I think that it's all about learning and being on that journey of discovery and ensuring that you can improve as individuals.
There's a school that I was working with, and this is for the little ones at primary school. They have the sports day, and they switched from giving out medals. I mean, we were used to getting first place, second place, third place, and they switched. No, there are no places. Everyone has a certificate of participation. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think we see that a lot in our modern society. I think that's how school sport has changed, because, when I was at school, it was ultimately your first, second, third would get your medals. And then if you weren't successful, then actually you don't get anything. And I'm a big believer in that. A little example for you, my daughters entered a gymnastics competition last weekend, and my eldest daughter won 2 silvers and a bronze in the 3 events. My youngest daughter didn't win anything. and she was absolutely devastated. And she cried for about an hour and a half. And as hard as that was for me, so 7 and 8. So my youngest, she was 7, and she didn't understand that she was in an older group as well, competing with older girls. And I tried to explain that to her. And as hard as it was to see her sobbing in tears for an hour and a half, actually, this week, she's turned up to training. She's trying harder. She's more focused, motivated to then get that medal when the next opportunity comes around. So that resilience that she's going to gain from that, I'm a big believer in that.
Well, what if it goes the other way, though? You know, what if you have a child that failed and is upset, they didn't win anything, they're like, that's it, I'm giving up, I'm done with this.
Yeah, and that's the difficult one. I think that's up to ensure that the coaching staff and the teaching staff are able to put in place measures to ensure that they are motivated and, you know, lower the bar potentially and make sure that then they can achieve those little wins and find out what they're motivated by. If it is literally just winning a medal, then ultimately, you know, you need to find a way to get them more intrinsically motivated to ensure that they're performing for the right reasons, not just to try and win a medal. So praise is also key, and being really, really positive with children, because we ultimately want them to be participating and we want everyone to have a good experience. So I think that we as staff have a big responsibility.
Do you notice a fundamental difference in the way that girls approach sport and boys?
Yes. I think boys enjoy competition more than girls. I think boys have a more competitive nature, whether that's in general and in training, that you've constantly got to put competitions in place for boys because that's how you get the best out of them in training. Whereas I think girls, they enjoy competition, but I think girls will enjoy working together better and in training, making sure that you can have that enjoyment factor, but also not just focusing on that outcome. Whereas boys, I think, probably become a little bit obsessed with the winning and losing. And then the losing side, you deal with that upset a lot more, I think, with boys. I think girls, it's about enjoying they just want to enjoy participating, feeling comfortable and having that desire to get better.
The mass generalization, but I've got one son and one daughter. The daughter is the non-sporty one, and the only reason that she would ever take part in any sports is because her friends were doing it, and she just wanted to be as part of the social group. How do you, just thinking of myself, like when I was like 13 and just sort of giving up, I mean, how do you, maybe you've got some stories of you know, students that you've taught, that how do you really motivate a child that's feeling a little bit like they want to give it all up? And
yeah, that's a really good question. I think it's about finding a way for that individual. And I think that's something we do really, really well at Wells, is that we treat each individual as an individual and we don't blanket say, oh, you have to conform to this. I think we do what's right for the individual. And if I see a child that's really struggling, I'll chat to them and say, well, how can we make your experience more positive? And then put things in place to achieve that. One example is a boy really, really wasn't enjoying contact rugby and he wanted to work on his fitness. So I was able to put in place gym sessions during that contact rugby. And it turned out that actually it was really beneficial because he was neurodiverse and really struggled with that kind of full contact element of rugby. And he worked on his fitness goals. And by the end of that term, he was a completely different individual, much more positive, engaging, motivated. So it's finding out and actually communicating well with that child.
so if you can be super flexible with the timetable, and doesn't that then open the floodgates? I mean, how many other boys would have then stuck up their hands and says, oh, actually, sir, I don't want to do contact rugby either. And then how do you handle that?
Yeah, that is, again, about balance. And that's something that we did experience because other boys were then looking at it going, well, instead of being out on this cold rugby pitch, getting caked in mud, I would rather be in the warm gym. But then it is about communication and ensuring that we're doing what's right by each individual. And that's where we had to communicate effectively with parents, with our SEND department, with, you know, our coaching staff to ensure the messaging was clear.
So, as I said, Wells is very much known for music, but now, do all of the music scholars, do the academic scholars, that they all need to play sport?
Yes. So some of our best sports performers have been world-class musicians that have come through here.
Isn't that interesting? Why do you think that is?
I think work ethic. I think if you are a specialist musician, you have an outstanding work ethic. You have the ability to train at that skill 6 to 8 hours a day. And if you transfer that onto the sports field, you're going to get a performer who is hugely motivated, all those things, resilient. They have the drive, determination. And, we've had England hockey players that have come through the specialist music program. And that is a huge selling point of Wells as an educational experience, because they all had to do sport. Also, we have yoga and aerobics and different types of activities that our specialist musicians just love to do, and it's their opportunity to switch off and have that well-being time during the week, and it's hugely important for them. The other thing is posture. I talk a lot about posture to our musicians, because if they are playing the piano, the violin, all those things, throughout the day, they need to ensure that they are maintaining their posture and have that fitness. And they're working on that, whether that's access to the gym. We've got some brilliant strength and conditioning coaches here that will work with individuals to make sure they hit their fitness goals and support their overall development.
That's different than when I was at school. Schools didn't have the strength and conditioning part. I mean, my son's 18. I mean, they're all obsessed with just looking good. And so that's an interesting development. I think it's important because the general fitness applies to any sport, doesn't it? When did that start?
I would say it's kind of linked to that commercialization of sport becoming more professionalized. I think that if you go out to any sporting professional county, academy, club, strength and conditioning is hugely important, that you need to build that athlete. And I think that has then rubbed off into schools. And then we have that obligation to put those key building blocks in place in the gym, outside of the gym as well, making sure, that they are fit and healthy for those athletes that want to then be professionals, but also for that general well-being. And I think that's how schools have adapted and improved their offering, and really focusing at those fundamental movement skills, putting that at the heart of what you do in your program.
I want to go back to the idea of an elite sports person who develops this discipline, the work ethic, right? I see that, and I see that's lacking in myself. And then we've got this whole, and you mentioned another child who has some neurodiversity, and we're seeing such a phenomenal rise in the number of children that are diagnosed with particularly ADHD, right? And that's probably another conversation about why that is. So then how do you see any disparity? Are you saying that the children who are focused and disciplined and can work hard are these types of children, and then there's all of the others that are struggling to focus? Or I'm just interested in your thoughts on that.
I think sport is a fantastic avenue to release a lot of tension that these pupils have. And, those that have neurodiversity, they have different needs in the sports field. And as I said, whether that's loud noises, contact rugby. So it's ensuring you get the balance right for that individual. But also we've had, a lot of pupils with ADHD who really benefit from playing sport, because it's their opportunity to go out and let them be who they want to be, as opposed to in the classroom. I think that they have to be in that environment and much more focused and disciplined. Whereas in sport, they can have that release and ensure that they're able to play their hardest for an hour and a half and then come back in and be much more focused in the classroom.
But do you have examples, like if you think of your students currently or recently, that they can be both? Can they be both neurodiverse or ADHD and elite?
Yes, absolutely. And I think the key is really communication to ensure that the coaching staff are fully aware of their needs. And I think that's where we work really closely with our SEND department, and they are fantastic with supporting us with each pupil. But I think they still can have the same work ethic, the discipline, and all those things that they need, desire to get better. And they just need to be channeled in the right direction, because if you give them a task, what you'll find is that they will focus solely on achieving that and putting those targets in place for those individuals. So you can see huge benefits from them.
So I suppose it's all about what motivates them. I've seen ADHD children who really struggle in their academic work, but in focusing on their favorite TV series, that's no problem at all. So it just interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yes. Are you seeing a rise in neurodiversity?
Yeah, I would say so. I think that it would hit the national trend or even the global trend, and I think that it's becoming more important as staff to be fully aware of each individual's needs and ensuring that we are aware of how to get the best out of them as well. I think that's really important. And, that is forever evolving, and, we're adapting what we do to ensure we get the best out of those pupils.
Touched on, hinted at, there's a partnership with Chelsea Football Club, which is now public, and we can talk about that. So how do you see, and you've been very involved, so how do you see that partnership that's going to elevate the sports culture at Wells Cathedral?
It's a hugely exciting opportunity for us. And, they're here today, we're touring them, our fields and pitches, and we've got huge plans in place. And something that I was hugely passionate about getting the deal signed, getting it over the line, is the opportunity it's going to bring to the school. All our pupils at the school will benefit from this. There's going to be investment in our facilities. We're going to see world-class coaches visit the school from Chelsea. We're going to have a full-time UEFA B licensed coach from Chelsea Football Club at the school, delivering sessions all year round. Also, it's going to grow our reputation globally. Chelsea is, as a brand, one of the best football clubs in the world. The ladies' team is arguably the best football team in the world. And that, for me, is hugely exciting, because hopefully we're going to be attracting pupils from all around the world to come and have an unbelievable education at Wells, experience the beautiful surroundings, live in a boarding house on site, but get coached by Chelsea coaches and be on that pathway. And that's what I'm really, really excited about, is how that's going to take our sport forwards as a whole.
It's a bit of a trend, isn't it? There's another school that's partnered with Manchester City, and then I think Manchester United had done it a while ago. I mean, I guess it's all also related to the whole commercialization of sport that you were talking about earlier.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, football as a global brand, it's a £1 billion industry, billions and billions of pounds.
It's football for our American friends.
Yeah, football, soccer. So it's the opportunities we're going to gain on the back of that are really exciting. And what I'm most passionate about is how it can benefit our whole school community, because we know our football is going to get better through the Chelsea pathway that we're going to have in place. But the key is, I'm passionate that those athletes are going to be coming to Wells for their education, that they're then going to play our other sports. They'll pick up a hockey stick, they'll play netball, they'll play cricket, they'll get involved in athletics, swimming, and benefit all our sport.
If you're attracting families, most parents have more than one child. So one child might be very interested in football and then interested in joining the program, but then the other isn't. And that's fine too.
Yeah, absolutely. And the answer is going to be yes. We'll make things work and we'll fit things in around each family's needs. I think we're promoting the program for 11 to 18-year-olds, boys and girls.
You mentioned co-ed teams a moment ago, earlier. Yeah, I'm interested in that.
I think that we won't field co-ed teams, but what we'll be doing is skill sessions together. So as long as they're age specific and, the Chelsea staff are happy, I think that we will have, that mix in genders in those skill sessions. So the aim is that we will then put out field girls teams and boys teams through the football program with Chelsea. We're ambitious. I think that's the key message that I want to get across, is that this isn't going to be dipping our toes in the water of football. We're going to be ambitious. We want to make sure that we are fielding the best possible teams. We're taking Wells Cathedral School forwards as a brand, and it's adding another specialism. We've got a specialist music program, specialist maths program. Now we've got a specialist football program. The opportunities there are endless, and it's hugely exciting time to be at the school.
Need another music, maths, and messing about with a football. Yeah, no, it's exciting, and I want to close out because you've got to entertain the Chelsea colleagues. So, as a former professional cricketer and a leader in sport education, what's the one lesson from sport that you hope that every student will carry with them for life?
I think it's building character. I think that sport has made me the person I am today. It's made me successful as a coach, as a teacher, as a leader. And those are the attributes that you gain through playing sport. So try your best, never give up, keep learning, keep on that journey of learning. You learn something new every day. And I'm passionate that I keep developing my professional expertise as well. And I think that's where what I've gained through being an ex-professional sports performer is that I'm forever trying to improve what I do.
Iteration. And what advice do you have for me? I mean, I'm sitting here thinking, oh, I'm such a failure. Literally never really took sport seriously, and then I had an injury. I mean, yeah, for someone who sport is just not in my life. But I can sit here across from you. I totally get it. I've got a sporty child, and I can appreciate everything that you're saying. But do you have any advice for me?
I would say whatever your goals are in life, look at sport or fitness as an avenue to achieving them. And, whether that is, just doing couch to 5K, if you will get out there and exercise, you feel better about yourself. You feel more motivated. You have more energy that you can then go about your daily working life with much more rigor and take on those challenges. And that's where I would say to anyone, have a go. It's not all about winning, losing. It's about enjoying what you do. And if you enjoy it, you're more likely to come back. And that's what I'm most passionate about, is every individual I work with, I want them to love what they do and have that kind of lifelong journey of being able to participate in an activity, whether that's sport, whether that's out there running, exercising, whether it's just walking. But be active and you will reap the rewards in your goals in life.
Yeah, at my time in life, we're also sort of thinking about functional fitness, which is a friend of mine. He's a fitness trainer. We're talking about just being able to live longer and enjoy life, not just existing, but, in older age. And when we're seeing some quite older people in their 60s, 70s and 80s, pursuing fitness in quite a serious way. And there seem to be a lot of benefits in doing that. I can observe from afar. What's the one question that I should have asked you if you were me?
I guess maybe what makes Wells special. I think that Wells is special because of the environment we're in. It's a beautiful environment, and I love coming to work as much as I think the pupils love coming to school, and that really rubs off on the whole school community. It's a fantastic place to be, and I cannot promote it enough as an individual that works here, but also seeing the smiles on the pupils' faces. They are our best selling point, that whenever people visit Wells, they are taken back by how polite our pupils are, how delightful they are to each other, and kindness really, really does reverberate around the place. So that's what makes Wells special to me. And you get the best out of people if they're happy. If they're happy, they're more likely to be motivated and become world class at things such as music, like we have here. But, we have international sports performers. We've got, our drama is absolutely top level, and all the arts. Everything we do here, there's something for everyone, and it's a fantastic place to be.
Well, thank you for your time. Thank you for having me. It's been a great conversation. Thanks so much, Tom.
Yeah, no, it's been lovely to meet you, and thank you so much for coming in, and hope you have a great experience and meet the Chelsea guys, enjoy the sunshine, and soak up the Wells atmosphere.
Thanks for listening. If today's episode sparked questions, or if you're ready for support with UK boarding school admissions, we're here to help. Reach out to us at www.topschoolsadmissions.com or follow the link in the show notes. Your child's exceptional UK boarding school educational journey starts with a conversation, so let's have a chat.